Hello and welcome back to the iFox with Juice podcast. I am your host Juice. I'm here with my co-host Rina. Rina, what's up?
Nothing much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. I'm almost forgetting 3 days into the new year. But well, no fights this week. No fights for a few weeks actually. So we're gonna start. We're gonna recap what happened over the weekend with UFC 232, the big card of last week and one of the biggest cards of the year. Now that we're looking back at it, so we're just gonna recap some of our picks. Shout outs again to Ashley, the MMA nerd, for joining us last week. She did a great job. Really helped us out. She's welcome back anytime, Ashley, if you're listening. Again, whenever you want to come on, let me know. So we picked it was BJ Penn versus Ryan Hall. Ashley and I picked BJ foolishly. Reen was more logical about it and picked Hall. Although I think you did by decision, and he ended up ripping his ankle 2 minutes in.
Yeah, that was horrible, but come on. It's BJ Penn. Sorry. And I love BJ Penn, but I think it's it. And I think Dana even said, like, I don't think he should do this anymore. He's a legend. He helped build a company. He doesn't need to do this.
But I mean, is it one of those things that a loss is a loss, and a loss was gonna look bad whichever way it was? So he should just call it a career. Because I know he may be injured. I haven't seen a real update on him. Maybe he was okay, and it was just one of those things he got jacked up for the moment. I know a lot of people experience that with like arm bars, like their elbows are kind of fucked up for a day or two or a week, but then they end up being okay. Like I don't know, he obviously didn't take big damage. Hopefully that knee or leg injury isn't too bad. Like I'm not saying I want to see him fight again, but I guess one more fight wouldn't hurt, given that he wasn't too badly hurt in this one. What do you think? Is it just nip it in the bud, or you know maybe there's a fun fight out there for him?
I mean, it'll be fun to definitely watch him fight again, but what will be the upside if he wins? I mean, another contender, and if he loses, that just like messes up his legacy. I mean, here's another L on his record. So, I mean, how will that work for him? And okay, so did he sign a 6-fight contract, or was that Anderson? I can't recall what his new contract was with the UFC, but
I think it was Anderson. I don't remember anything about BJ signing any kind of contract, any kind of long contract anyway.
okay.
I guess the reason I'm bringing it up too is that honestly, he looked good. He looked good in this fight up until he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know it's Ryan Hall, but then maybe this has not a lot to do with it. But I actually respect Hall immensely now that I found this out. He basically cuts no weight. They came out with the rehydration day of fight weigh-ins, and he gained like a pound or two. He cuts like no weight, which I respect. There's like next to no people that do that anymore. But at the same time, BJ did cut weight. He was like 10, 12 pounds heavier than him,
Mm-hmm.
and he got what happened. What happened. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing that he got taken out that quick by a younger, smaller guy. I don't know, that it kind of dampens things, given that he looked good, but he got taken out basically by this noob in a way.
So I don't know. That's a tough call. I mean, who would you match him up against?
It maybe I'm going real Bellator, Oscar De La Hoya with this, but I don't even know if he's fighting, and it would sound fucked up. But what I'd really like to see is kind of like maybe like Joe Lozon. I know he'd been getting fucked up and he's having some rough fights lately, but to me it's like, well, they're gonna get fucked up, might as well get fucked up together. I'm really not saying this to try to be funny. It's just like I mean, like you're right. I don't want to see him get knocked out or bullied by some young 25-year-old kid. I don't want to see him against Alexander Hernandez. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather see, or Edson Barboza or some shit. Like I'd rather see him against a guy who's past his prime, was in the same kind of similar stage where he's at, and fuck it, let it be what it is. Let like Rampage Vanderlei 4. Like I didn't hate that fight, and if they fought again, fuck it, let them have it. It's pointless, but it was fun while it lasted, I guess.
Well, with this new era with ESPN, maybe we'll see something like that then with BJ Penn because he's a legend. People know him. He's a name, so they might use his star power. But again, would that be a benefit to his legacy?
And then the other thing with BJ is that it seems like he's gonna fight until he literally croaks in the octagon. So I understand at one point it's gonna be like, well, enough's enough, man, But I don't know. I guess we're just in the same spot as always. Like he should have called this years ago, but he keeps coming back, and now we're at the point. It's like, well, maybe one more won't hurt, or maybe this should have been called, and this is pointless to continue. I don't know. This is just kind of we're just kind of rambling now, but I was just upset. I will say this. I'm glad he didn't win because he was looking good. Like if he would have knocked him out and done some spectacular thing, he may have gone that thing of like what was happening for a while where oh BJ's back, let's give him fucking Dan Hooker, and then he just gets murdered. Like so. At least maybe this saved him from further punishment down the line.
I think so. It was a blessing in disguise because, like I said, like what would be the upside?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. Okay, so that was BJ getting heel hooked in the first round by the grappling wizard. Um, and then that was followed up by more weirdness with Kat Zingano and Megan Anderson. Kat received a big old toe in the eye, and that was scary. I mean, I think everyone was scared for a minute that she may have gone blind. We had another Winklejohn situation, but seems like she's okay. She got a bit of a cut, a really fucked up red and bruised eye, but man, I don't know. I mean, what do you think? I mean, there's no way she doesn't appeal this, but do you think she has a chance? You know how these commissions can be, and especially now with this John Jones nonsense in California. Like honestly, do you think she has a chance if she appeals this, if this can be overturned?
From what Big John McCarthy was saying, no, that's not how the rule goes.
So like that's legit. Like that was a legit TKO win because she couldn't continue.
Yeah, it was a TKO. She got kicked in the eye. Eye pokes are one thing. You can kind of stop those from happening because,
Oh no.
what, but there's really no rules for a toe in the eye.
So that's some weird loophole that. Oh fuck, man.
That's what it sounds like. But who knows?
Please do me a favor, just take that back because if John Jones ever hears this, he's gonna just be. Oh my god. And then Winklejohn can give him some weird insights of getting his eye fucking destroyed. Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
We should never be creating this knowledge.
So let's erase that part. Let's edit that out.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that was so freaky. And poor Cat is just one thing after another with her. I would like to really see them run that back. It needs to happen. Like it wasn't. No, that was not fair to us fight fans. No way.
Definitely not fair to Kat. And I mean, I know Megan was kind of going. I mean, she kind of irritated me. She was this whole "a win's a win" type thing, and I get it. You shouldn't. I wouldn't want to, insult myself and like, oh, I didn't do shit. You should take the win, but also it's like you can't be proud of that. That's like winning via headbutt. That's like, it's not like you landed a good shot and it just landed awkwardly. It was like she should have missed that and like by an inch or half an inch or whatever it was. Wrong place, wrong time. She took a fucking toe in the eye.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can't be proud of that. You can't be happy about that, right?
Maybe this is. I don't know. It doesn't seem like Kat mentioned too much about it either, but maybe this is unprecedented. Maybe she tries to appeal anyway, and if the commission hears her, is like, well, maybe we even if she doesn't win, it's like, you know what? Maybe we're gonna introduce a rule that if there's an accidental poke with the toes, that can be ruled the same with the eye. Because the other thing too, now that we're talking about it, the rules on eye pokes are kind of shady to begin with. I mean, there's so many fights that low blows are one thing. It's easy. Okay, you get 5 minutes rest, maybe a point deduction, and then we'll see what happens from there. Usually people come out of it after a few seconds, but it's kind of fucked up because I know women can get low blow too, and it's a different effect and whatever, and that should be applied to them too. But it doesn't matter what genitals you have. Everyone has eyes. Eye pokes affect everyone equally, and they're even worse. Well, I'm a guy. I know what getting hit in the balls is like. It's very painful, but it's a painful sensation. If you had to fight, you still kind of could. You can't really fight with no eyes, you know. So the rule is basically just if the ref sees it and calls it, it's up to him how much time he gives you, or if he calls the fight or not. So maybe we just need to look into the whole eye poking thing in general, whether it's with fingers or the toes.
I think so. I think it'll be good to revisit that because there has been so many eye pokes happening. John Jones is back too, so who knows what's going to happen with him? Notorious for that. But I understand that they're actually coming out with new gloves though for the UFC. When they'll release that, I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I think it would be a good idea to revisit all those rules.
Yeah, that was the rumor. I think Rogan's the one that mentioned that first, and then it's like, how could they have not done this years ago? I tell people, I know people want to be like, oh, just take a point away, or oh, it's just guys, it's really just stupid. I mean, UFC is supposed to have the top fighters in the world, and they're eye poking each other all the time. Yet you see women in Invicta, fighters in Bellator, One, PFL, all these other organizations. These are supposed to be lower level fighters, and whether you're talking about main event guys or prelim guys, I rarely see eye pokes on there. So, I mean, it really is just a glove. I don't know how this isn't just easily, obvious data that this is the glove that's the problem more than the fighters. But and then, as I've told people before, to people, I don't know how many people have worn a UFC glove, but I have, and it's the weirdest thing because they open your hands. You actually have to force your hand into a fist. It's not just curved to where they're in like a C formation. They're open and all fingers are separated as well. It's like it's so easy to separate your fingers and open your hand, but it's actually kind of difficult. And I did it just with my bare hand. I'm imagining with hand wraps and stuff, it's all the harder. So especially when you're tired and you're not really thinking about your technique too much. But uh, some fuckery there. So we all got that one wrong because we all went for Cat. I still like you, Megan, but that's not one you should be proud of. Again, hopefully they run that back. And then that was the prelims. Went to the main card. Chad Mendes versus Alex Volkanovski. Alex Volkanovski got the second round TKO. Mendes was looking good in the first round. They're going back and forth. He hurt him a few times, but he really seemed to have lost his wind in the second. And Volkanovski, once he sensed it, he just jumped on him. Ended up calling out Max Holloway in the nicest way possible. I had mentioned that I picked Volkanovski. I was the only one of everyone to pick Volkanovski. I was a little bit surprised of how it went down, but I really liked his call out. I know he literally went out of his way to be a little too nice and stuff because you could tell he really respects Holloway. But man, I'm interested to see Holloway against a guy like that because I know he hasn't fought Frankie Edgar. Some people still want to see that, but I mean honestly, Frankie Edgar ain't that young anymore. He's not that athletic, so I want to see what he's like against a guy like that. I don't think that's his next challenger. I think Moicano will most likely be his next challenger, but I hope that they have that guy waiting in the wings or something because that was a really impressive performance. I'm just trying to think of who he can fight next. What you think, Rain?
Man, I was so sad about that because I did pick Mendes,
Yeah.
the more experienced fighter. I mean, they were pretty much like twins, a younger version of Chad. So, but yeah, my question was answered because I was wondering about his gas tank. So, yeah, that answers my question on it. And then next thing you know, he gets knocked out, right? So,
Yeah.
so big, props to that guy,
And
Alexander the
well,
Great.
yeah, and then Chad retired afterward, which flew under everyone's radar because he didn't say it in the cage. He didn't. I don't even think he said it at a press conference. I saw it on Twitter. I don't know who he first told, but
So he confirmed it. He's the one that tweeted that out because I've seen it from everybody else, like all the media outlets. But
yeah, I didn't see it from his personal Twitter. I don't know, but I mean everybody from small outlets to ESPN and Sherdog and what have you have all reported it. So I mean, there's no way that everyone's lying. I didn't see any real reasoning.
yeah,
Maybe he just was one of those guys just looking ahead, worrying too much about head damage. Who knows? But he did say that win, lose or draw, he was going to retire. So who knows? Maybe going into that too, especially not telling everybody. Maybe he just took it a little bit too easy. Maybe didn't take the kid too seriously, or just didn't care enough. Who knows? But Volkanovski did look good, and regardless of what happened with Mendez, I think we say that he does deserve some kind of credit, maybe a lot of credit. But
Yeah, can't
yeah,
take that away. Still had a great performance, though.
yeah. So that was my first. I only got two picks right on this one. That was my first of the two. Can we just skip over Carlos Condit?
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine with me if you really want to. I know that's your favorite fighter. Wait, is he still your favorite fighter?
I mean, Holloway's my current favorite because not even because he's winning, but I mean, like, I'm not an idiot. I see the writing on the wall. I've seen the writing on the wall at least for 2 years now. I basically saw it with the Maya fight. You know, I after the Lawler fight, and he said like that might be my last one. I was like, no man, come on, one more, one more. Like win or lose the other one, we'll see, one more. And when he lost to Maya, and then he said that he got hurt, he was hurt with a punch from Maya of all people, and then that's kind of why he sunk in the choke. Like Condit's not an excuse maker. He's not gonna say, "Oh, well, he rocked me, and that's why he choked me." It's like, no, I mean, he was saying the truth. He said he'd kind of been feeling concussions and symptoms affiliated with it and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, Chiesa is a big guy, obviously very good grappler. The first round was very entertaining. They went back and forth. They were interchanging, they're in the 50-50 position. They were interchanging submissions and going back and forth, basically all grappling. But then in the second round, once Chiesa found, got a good hold of him and took him down with force, he just kind of went to his back and ended up maneuvering somehow to get that one arm lock, Kimura. I don't know what you call it, but it was very painful. And I heard a lot of people say that there's almost no way that he didn't get injured. I actually haven't kept up with Conde. I didn't see any posts of his of him saying that he's retired or he may come back or that he's hurt. But yeah, that's it, man. I'll say it for my favorite fighter ever. He still is, even though he's not what he was. I'll give him that respect. He is my favorite fighter ever. I will miss him, but there's really 5 losses in a row. There's no need for it, and it's been mostly submissions too that he's been losing lately. So there's no need for this. I don't see the point. I mean, even what he's what do you want to give him a guy like Mickey Gall or something, or like Diego San, like someone that he can almost assuredly beat? Like, what's the point of that? It's not going to add to. Okay.
Yeah, you can't do that to him. You can't use him as a gatekeeper either.
Okay.
For these up and comers. So I
Okay.
agree with.
I will make an exception for one thing. See if you're on board. Matt Brown.
What?
That was the fight we were supposed to see years ago that never happened. They scheduled it twice and it never happened. I know Matt Brown's an animal. I love Matt Brown too. But let's be honest, he's not who he was before either.
Yeah, but Matt Brown he's gone places where no one has gone before. He died, right?
Yeah, he did.
He's an animal.
Yeah.
So, goodness.
And here's the thing is that I'll make an exception for that fight because if there's anything that people are like, oh, well, maybe he's just not motivated. He doesn't have that fire anymore. You better have the fucking fire with Matt Brown, man. Shit, if you're not motivated, once you get in that cage, you're gonna feel what it's like to fight the devil,
Yeah, and that fight he had with Donald Cerrone, he hurt him even though he lost.
Yeah,
he
I mean,
hurt him bad.
He was probably winning. He probably won like 2 rounds, or winning a good part of most of the rounds, but then he got head kicked. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I want to see that.
I'll just say that caveat. Condit, please retire. Unless they offer you Matt Brown, then go for it. And then please never fight again, win, lose, or draw. Then for sure let that be your last one. The thing about it too is that I know Brown will invite whatever fight he brings on. He's not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to take him down and submit him. He's going to want to strike with him, and it should be fun however long it lasts. But he's been submitted a lot. Maybe he gets knocked. Maybe it's going to take me seeing him get knocked out to fully go all the way. But maybe I'm just morbid and I don't really care about my favorite fighters that much. I don't know.
It's both.
Probably. The love runs deep. Okay, so moving on from that, co-main event, what everyone was talking about, probably the story of the year. Nunes starching Cyborg in 51 seconds to become the first ever dual concurrent women's champion ever, and basically unofficially become the GOAT. The lioness is now the GOAT. Man, I mean, what else can be said about that? The way she just put the whooping on Cyborg. I'll just let you go from here. What did you think?
Man, I totally underestimated Amanda. Totally, man. I can't believe she just did whatever she wanted to. She said she was gonna knock her out, and she did it.
Yeah.
I mean, she has to be the hardest punching chick, right?
I
And
mean,
all of like harder than Chris, right? Because damn, I've never seen that happen to her before.
I still want to give Chris that credit because, I mean, up until Holly, like, how many knockouts does she have in a row? I know the competition wasn't the greatest, but Holly's the first decision I've ever seen of hers. I'm relatively speaking, I'm still kind of a newbie at women's MMA because Misha Tate and Ronda Rousey, the first fight, is what brought me in. So I've been watching for like 5 or 6 years. It's not like I've been watching for the longest amount of time. I wasn't watching Megumi Fuji and Gina Carano and these girls back in the day, but I've seen Cyborg Strikeforce fights from Carano to Kunin, whoever she fought there, that Japanese girl that she knocked out in like 16 seconds. Everything I've ever seen from her has been a brutal knockout or like a elongated beating TKO type thing. So I'll give Cyborg. Cyborg's still definitely the scariest hitter. I still think she is the hardest hitter, but Cyborg. 'Cause I don't remember the last time Cyborg knocked a chick dead like that. Like it was one punch out cold. The most brutal thing of knockout of Cyborg that I could think of off the top of my head is probably Charmaine Tweet.
Oh
But
God, yeah.
that was a TKO. Yeah, she dropped her to the body and she was kind of pummeled her, but it wasn't one of those things where she hit her and she fell face first on the canvas. Everyone they just kind of give up because of how hard she hits. They don't want to keep taking the beating, but that was a legit KO. That was some Mike Tyson type shit.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes me wonder: is her chin suspect now because of the fights that she's had prior? I mean, she had rough fights. Well, not fights with an S, but Dorina Bars. I mean, she got kicked in the face. I mean, everything was thrown at her.
Yeah, but that was one fight, and that was years ago. Well, actually, maybe I should ask you. Maybe you're the best person to ask. I know you follow her very closely. Does she have a reputation in the gym? Like, do they go full blast? Like, does she just get in these crazy shoot the box Vanderlei Silva type wars in the gym, or?
I think she stopped all that from ever since she started training with Perillo. So I was surprised that we didn't see like the evolved Chris. I felt like we saw the vintage Chris. Like she just went in there and started swinging.
Yeah, and I know some people are saying that she just kind of came in wrong and she wasn't herself, but I think she wasn't herself because Nunes put it on her and she hurt her. I
Yeah.
think she reverted to her brawling ways because I mean she was hurt, she wasn't thinking, she was like, "Fuck it, I gotta get this girl off me. I'm gonna just throw whatever I can at her, and I know I can hit hard. As long as one of these lands, I'll probably drop her, and then totally worked against her."
Yeah. So I mean, if they run it back, I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this. If they run it back, I think it's gonna happen the same way.
You
Amanda's that good, I think. I mean, I totally underestimate her because the fights with Valentina, but once you take down Ronda and the Mishas and now Chris, that momentum, that feeling, it's got to help in some ways. And going into a rematch situation, I mean, she has the upper hand, that confidence level.
You know what? Even as we are talking, even before we started recording, we were kind of saying some stuff off air about this fight, and I started thinking about like, I wonder how much. Now I'm starting to think how much the weight, well, the not cutting of weight. I don't know if you saw this of the day of weigh-ins that Cyborg only had like a 4 pound advantage on Nunes. Did you see that?
No,
Yeah, Cyborg, the day of the fight, I think she ended up weighing like 160, 161 or something. and Nunes was at like 156, 157.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've told people it seems like they don't want to believe it. Nunes is a big girl. There's something about Nunes. She reminds me a lot of like Anderson.
Hmm.
Like she just has a weird body because she's not tall, but she's really gangly. She's got really long limbs, and she's got like a big, kind of like big shoulders and back. So she doesn't look like this, like Kayla Harrison or something like that, who's just jacked from head to toe, and she doesn't look like Megan Anderson, where she's just some big ass girl where you could tell she's kind of heavy. I don't know where the weight goes, but she just has kind of a weird frame. But maybe her not cutting weight, she just some people the power doesn't just carry over; it translates better. Because I mean, let's be honest. Do you really think that Cyborg's chin is worse than Ronda Rousey's?
Oh God.
You know what I mean? I mean, Ronda never. I know it was an ass whooping and a half, but
Yeah.
Ronda never went down.
Yeah.
I know Ronda's tough. I'll give her that. She is a tough girl, but she was not in her realm of fighting, but definitely not striking. And she was still going in with that, with her hands down, no head movement, fucking that little pigeon, that little crow walk that she does, where she was just hopping around the octagon. I mean, that was the
Yeah.
most embarrassing thing ever. But she never went down. She got beat the fuck up, but she never went down. But Cyborg went down like 4 times and bad. Like honestly, when she caught her the first time, obviously I jumped out of my seat and I was shocked, like, oh, but I was like, oh, that was good. Okay, this is gonna get interesting. I was still scared, like she could still catch you. Be careful. And then
Yeah.
she dropped her the second time. When she dropped her the second time, I'm like, this is over, because she felt even worse than the first. I'm like, this isn't something that you come back from. At this point, it's just survival. And the way that Nunes looked, like she looked so hungry, she looked so dead on. I'm like, this is gonna be over soon, and I don't know if it's gonna be a beating and she's gonna give up or if she's gonna get knocked out, but this is over. And then 10, 15 seconds later, she got dropped again and again, and it was over. But I knew after the second knockdown, I knew it was over because the way she went down was so violent. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
It
this is
was.
nothing to recover from.
I forgot about that. People were making that point. Like Ronda never went down. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, but like I said, like that was at 135.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a thing of the weight cut. She was still kind of
But
rehydrating, and yeah, she wasn't as heavy as she could be.
yeah, and then that's the reason why maybe she needed all this time to adjust her weight and figure this out, and because she wanted 9 months to prepare. So I mean, obviously, her and her team knew what they were doing.
Which honestly isn't a lot. I know Cyborg was kind of complaining, like, why am I waiting this much? But maybe she knew something we didn't, that could be to her advantage, and she didn't want her to have that advantage. But I mean, honestly, it was so impressive that Dana even shut up about the weight cut stuff, because I said, like, oh, if you want to go up in weight, I just suggest you go up, just stop cutting weight and go up. But Nunes said she wanted some time to put on the weight, and then that was the same thing that GSP told me. That GSP, if he was gonna go up, he was gonna take some time, put the weight on the right way, and then fight. And I wasn't really agreeing with him, and I wasn't agreeing with Nunes, but they both won, and they won impressively. So what do I know? Like, even he was like, yeah, I can't really talk shit anymore about jumping up in weight. Like, if you want to do it that way, that's probably the way to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And did you notice that Chris cut down to 144 at weigh-in?
At the official weigh-in, right?
Yeah. So I mean, maybe that had a factor too.
Well, just the fact that she was 160 on fight day, that seems kind of light. I know she can. I know sometimes she's cut like 30, 35 pounds. So I thought she would have been like 165, 168. That seemed kind of light to me too. So I know she didn't say anything. Maybe there's some kind of injury that was having her be light, or maybe she was just super, super disciplined
Yeah.
to her detriment. That she lost too much weight or something. Who knows? Maybe she just stepped up on the cardio too much and kind of ignored sparring or weight training or whatever.
Yeah. Who knows what happened? But I was surprised that they even had to cut an extra pound. Like that's not even necessary. So
Maybe it was just to prove a point too, that because I think Nunes did come in at 145. It's like, oh, you guys think I'm struggling with weight? Like, oh, maybe it's like, oh, I'm gonna show you I'm faster than her, or Or maybe it was for that reason. Sometimes people want to come in lighter. They think, oh, well, this girl's fast, so I should match her speed. But that was probably the one thing of the fight that nobody put into consideration of how fast Nunes is and how good the speed translated over.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very impressive and totally underestimated her. I still think she looks like Lisa and Colt Jam. Look at it. I tweeted at her the other day because I think we had this conversation almost a year ago, March 2017. Was it
Huh.
March? So it was, yeah, it'll be almost 2 years ago. Like a whole group of us was like talking about 80s music, and we somehow tagged in Amanda, and she responded to us, and I was like, oh yeah, you look like Lisa. I want you to like dress up as Lisa for Halloween because you are dead on. Because she's a gorgeous gal. I think she's good looking. She's
Yeah, I've
pretty.
said that too, and sometimes guys on Twitter are like, "Oh, what the fuck? You like the butch looking one?" Like, no, man. Like, look at her face. She's really not. She's not ugly. It's just,
Mm-mm.
yeah, she's kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of masculine because she doesn't dress up all pretty and. Yeah, but yeah, she's not an ugly girl.
Mm-mm.
She's kind of she's really personable. That's what I like about Nunes is that she has a good personality. Like I know people were just I don't know for the longest amount of time I think people couldn't get over that she was a bitch to Ronda after the fight, but at the same time,
God.
I mean, I know it's cool and trendy to hate on Ronda, but besides that, I understood her because I don't think she was really that mad at Ronda. I think she was mad at the UFC. It's like, bitch, you thought that this girl had my number, that I wasn't shit, and look what I just did to her. Like, oh,
Yeah.
she wasn't trying. I don't think she was trying to rub it in Ronda's face, but it was like, yeah, she took her time and had her moment because it's like, well, that's your golden child, and look what I just did to her. Maybe
Yeah.
now you'll respect me.
Yeah. Because there was virtually no promotion for her, when she came back, when Rhonda came back. So, I mean, hopefully with this, they will market her better. I mean, she's a good looking girl. Her English so much better, right? Than the
It's
first
getting
time.
better
Yeah.
and gay. I know people say like, oh, you shouldn't market or you shouldn't market people because of their sexuality or whatever. But I mean, come on, she's from Brazil. She's from like a gigantic country with like 210 million people. She's a LGBT icon. Honestly, I mean, I can't think of many other gay athletes who've had her success. Granted, I don't know too much about other sports, but she's number one on my list for lack of knowing. And then this is going a little bit more deep, but I want to know. I'm very interested to know how people in Brazil see her because, especially right now, because of their newly elected president, who's kind of well known as a homophobe. She can be like a real sign of resistance. People talk about that here in this country with Trump, like, oh, resist, but it's all kind of like, not to get too much into it, but sometimes it just seems kind of fake, like, oh, start a hashtag and that's enough. Like with Amanda, it's like, if you're Brazilian, you should love and respect this girl. And if you're prejudiced against gays, it's like, well, you don't have a lot of champions right now, but that girl right there, she's maybe the best champion you've ever had. She's up there with Anderson and Jose Aldo as some of the best Brazilian champions ever.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that one. So, yeah, I would be curious to find out too, especially with some of the traitor talk that was happening, before the fight and whatnot.
By Cyborg and stuff.
The
Yeah.
team, the social, whatever they were doing, whoever it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
that campaign. So
Yeah.
interesting.
What I want to know is I always say this every time she fights. I'm fascinated with the tattoo on her back. She has like a logo. She has like her own logo. It says Amanda Nunes Lioness and it has a lion on it.
Oh yeah, and her face, right? Half her
Yeah,
face.
it's like half her face, half lion. I want to know if she's gonna get a goat tattooed on her now.
That would be cool, a little baby goat
Yeah,
or
just like right
something,
next to the lion. Like I'm part lion, part goat.
something like that. That would be cool.
Yeah, just a stupid little thought I had, especially the days following the fight. But Amanda, if you're hearing this, you have a cool ass tattoo, and I still don't get the jujitsu belt on your arm, but I forgive it because you have that cool logo on your back. Now on to Pico Graham Jones, John Jones. I'm still not letting that shit go. Pico Graham will live on forever.
Pictogram.
Pico Graham. Say it right, Reen. We can't give this narcissist more credit than he deserves.
It's pictogram, right? It's pictogram,
Oh,
guys.
it's picogram.
I love that. He was like couldn't even like remember
Yeah. Why?
how to say it. Like he wasn't paying attention when they were explaining this shit to him, obviously.
It's like, all right, am I clean? No. Well, can I fight? Yes. All right, then that's all I need to know.
Right? That he wasn't there for any of that. He's just worried about himself. Like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna fight? He doesn't care about all the science behind it or whatever. Like, oh goodness. Yeah. But anyways.
It was so pervasive that I even changed my Twitter name and photo for the night because it couldn't escape my mind.
Oh my god, that was great.
Yeah, for those that didn't see, I renamed myself a picogram of the M3 metabolite, and my Twitter picture was a tiny pinch of salt. Yeah, thank you, John Jones. You inspire some unique trolling from me. So John Jones won the title back, the vacant title that DC had given up days before because he didn't want to get fired because he quit. So he gave up the belt. He basically had his way with Gustafsson. Gustafsson was never really in the fight. Landed a few good punches, but he never got in any kind of rhythm. And Jones from the jump, it seemed like he got the lesson right away of distance. Distance was the whole key in the fight. He knew there was a certain distance where he couldn't reach him, or where at least he wouldn't be effective. And he played the full I'm all the way out or I'm all the way in game to a T. And Gus just never find his footing. I mean, what was so brilliant about the first fight with Gus is that he found like this magic range of where he was catching him right at the end of his punches, but he wasn't too much in danger. Like he got just like those perfect 2 or 3 inches or whatever he needed to be, where like I'm at this range, I can hit him just enough, and he can't hit me too well. But in this one, he could just never find it because Jones never let him. And man, his body kicks, he was looking dynamite with those kicks. It's as hard and as good I've ever seen him throw. And then he ended up getting that takedown in the third round, and it was all over. Um, the more I think about it, Reen, I feel that now looking back at it after a few days, I think that Jones was in Gus's head. Not like just with trash talk or stuff like that. I think it's more like the all the stuff, the drug stuff, the steroid stuff, the moving the fight. I think he was really emotional. Not in like I hate this guy kind of way, but like he just put that pressure on himself. Like he knew that everybody wanted him to win. It wasn't even a thing of like people. Sure, there was many people who thought he probably wouldn't win, but really desperately wanted him to win. Like he was supposed to be the good guy, and maybe that's a spot that he's not in too often, aside from like maybe fighting in Sweden.
Yeah. He was the chosen one. He was supposed to take him out. Even though I picked Jones, I wanted to see him be humbled and get beat down. But I'm hearing that Gus is talking about retirement. So I wonder if he was thinking about that, even prior to the fight. Was he well, he was talking about it even before this fight, right? Was it a year ago he's talking about retiring? So I wonder if that had something to do with it as well. Not
Yeah,
only
I mean,
Jones getting his head with all these antics and all the card completely moving, him being put on the spot to basically keep the card intact. He wasn't
I'm
there.
I'm not gonna say that if the fight had been canceled or moved or whatever happened that he would have won. I'm not gonna go that far and say like, oh, it's all John Jones' fault for being a fuck up. But he just looked stiff. He just looked kind of out of it. He looked like, what am I doing here? Why can't I? It seemed like the minute he got any kind of resistance, he kind of forgot the game plan. He kind of didn't try to adjust. I think there's a little bit of fault here with him that maybe he just wasn't mentally in tune as much as he should have been. And John Jones is always in the zone because he's a fucking sociopath and he could tune everything out. But
That's what makes him great, which is scary. He
yeah, I
can't feel
mean,
feelings at all, and I guess that's what you have to be great.
and honestly, I'm willing to say it definitely doesn't hurt in sports, but or definitely in fighting where you hurt people. But I think just in general, I mean, you look at guys like just like Steve Jobs. That guy was a fucking lunatic. Honestly, he was a piece of shit. To be honest, if we're being frank about it, but he was a genius when it came to computers, and You know, you could say that about a lot of people. Thomas Edison, but I'm always of the opinion that great people, great, like I say it, great entrepreneurs, great athletes, great artists are almost never great people because they get obsessed with things instead of people, and that's what makes them be great at that, whatever that thing is, you know. But yeah, John Jones is a special kind of person in many good and bad ways. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think Gus could have done too much different. I'm just surprised it was that dominant. Like in the third round, once Jones just realized he couldn't do anything, he just that takedown was effortless. That mount was effortless, and just beat the shit out of him. I mean, at that point, like it almost seemed like the minute he got taken down, Gus was like, "Yeah, I don't really want to be here anymore either."
Yeah. It's too bad it wasn't as. I wanted to be competitive, but John is great. He's back. Hopefully
Yeah.
he can keep clean and, the UFC can get all these fights out of him now that he has his golden ticket.
I don't know if I said this last week, but if I didn't, I'll say it again. John Jones can't spell clean, but that's beside the point. Hopefully, through the grace of God or whoever he believes in, whatever miracles can be worked. Hopefully, that happens. Although it goes without saying, I won't be surprised if he doesn't. I almost forgot we didn't mention the cyborg thing. So obviously Reen went with cyborg, as did I, so we were wrong. But props to Ashley, the only one that went with Nunes, just kind of went with her gut.
Yeah.
That she could boast to everybody about that one because that was a hell of a pick. But
High
yeah,
five to that girl. Good job.
yeah, but both Reen and I went, and Ashley, we all went for John Jones, so we all got this one right. Although I'm sure we were all in our hearts hoping we were wrong on this one, but he wins, looks as good as ever. Still being douchey to Anthony Smith and Chael and whoever, rightly or wrongly. Although he did apologize to that one female reporter that he was an asshole to the day before. So if there's a saving grace, maybe that's your cup of tea, and maybe that's good enough for you. But he's done so much shit for me that it's hard to forgive him for almost anything now. So till he can go like a year and a half totally clean and stuff, maybe I'll start forgetting some stuff. But as of right now, it's all way too fresh in my memory.
Yeah, way too fresh. We know way too much. My casual friends, they actually watch UFC fights every now and then. They've been following it for a while, but they're not into social media. They're not on Twitter. They didn't know any of this happening on the back end. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, that they moved the fight and the drugs and all that?
Yeah, like all this testing happened and he got caught again. And yeah, the fight was moved to LA. And they're like, had no idea.
Well,
No idea.
that's UFC's PR at work there, because I mean that's definitely what the UFC wanted. Hey, are casuals gonna buy this fight? Great. Is there any way to mitigate it to where they're not gonna know as much as these fucking hardcore fans are? Well, we'll just kind of ask Nowitzki, and we don't know the exact science yet, and just kind of shut the hell up. As long as people still keep buying tickets and buying the pay-per-views, that's all we need to know. That's all we care about.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so good on them, I guess. I mean, I know Dana was all proud because it was a sellout and it was like twice as much as he had anticipated. And I'm not surprised the pay-per-views are good. I think we all knew they were going to be good, but yeah. But what else is there? What else is there to say? That was we've gone at length about this event because, as I said, one of the biggest events of 2018. I think it deserves some delving into, especially with Nunes and Cyborg. That was maybe the story of the year, and then Jones kind of redeeming himself, at least establishing that he really is as good as we've always thought he is, and that his talent hasn't gone anywhere. So that's definitely worth something. But moving on from last week, well, sort of. Something happened a few days ago that the internet has been ablaze with. Floyd Mayweather fought Tenshin Nasukawa. Actually, Ring, just for the, I'm very impressed by you being from the same country. Can you say Tenshin's name in the proper Japanese style?
Sure. It's Nasukawa Tenshin.
There you go. It makes me feel just like I'm in the Saitama Super Arena.
Good.
Not to put you on the spot, but I heard that earlier and I thought it was so cool. I thought the listeners might enjoy that too. But yes, Tenshin Nasukawa was thoroughly embarrassed by Floyd Mayweather in less than a round. And the internet has been ablaze with conspiracy theories and rumors that this fight was fixed. There's not really any two ways about it. I mean, you kind of think it's a fix or you just don't. And I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. Reen, are you set either way? What's your thought on it?
I'm still back and forth. I mean, for someone that's had what over 100 fights, Tenshin. I mean,
Really, that much?
yeah, from what I've been looking at, like his amateur record, his MMA, he's had about 4 MMA fights. He does kickboxing. His background is kickboxing, Muay Thai, and karate. So he does all these martial arts, and just the way he took those punches and the knockdowns, it just seems so dramatic and played out. And then the crying too. To
Yeah,
me, it
the
seemed kind
crying was kind of lost on me. I didn't see that clip. I did see the fight, but I didn't see that image of him crying. But
yeah. So just, and then hearing the commentary in Japanese, at one point, one of the commentary people were like, "Oh, they're getting serious. Oh my God, like, is this something that wasn't supposed to be serious, or was it supposed to be play, or I don't understand."
see, this is why you're one of the best. I couldn't ask for a better co-host, especially in regards to these topics, because Rina actually does know Japanese. So while we're listening to bootleg ass streams and stuff and have no idea what's going on, we just hear a bunch of background noise and a bunch of yelling. She's actually hearing this and is almost looking at the fight through another eye because she actually knows what's going on, at least with what the people in the arena are saying. But yeah, that's probably something that not a lot of people are gonna know because I'm assuming a good part of our audience doesn't speak Japanese. So yeah, that was very disturbing when you told me that. I mean, maybe it's one of those things that you look into too hard, but I don't think so. I think that was a moment of honesty that was like truthful Tourette's. You could have helped to tell the truth, but it's like, oh shit, you can't take it back now.
Yeah. So I mean, to pay somebody $9 million to basically humiliate your top star, it doesn't really make sense to me unless there's something going on in the back end. And we kind of discussed it earlier because I looked into it more just to see what was going on. Because I've been following Twitter about this. Everybody thinks, or majority thinks it's a work. Some people don't. Okay, so in January, Tenshin said that he wanted to basically kickbox until about 22 or 23 years old. And then after that, he wants to move into like MMA or boxing. So he said that early in the year. And then in August timeframe, Evolve MMA actually sponsored him. Evolve MMA, the CEO and founder, is actually the same CEO and founder of One Championship.
Yeah, Chartreuse tongue.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. They're actually interested in possibly signing him once his contract is up with Ryzen. So that came up. So I looked into the Evolve MMA account, and yeah, he's a crew there. He actually trains Muay Thai at Evolve. So he's active, member of the gym.
Tenshin trains at Evolve?
Yeah, he actually trains people out of Evolve.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's a crew there. So, my mind's just going with the conspiracy theories, right? Like maybe there's a work like somebody's going to benefit somehow because seriously, you're going to pay $9 million for 150 seconds?
Yeah, because the way that you explain it's actually not. It doesn't really sound that crazy now. Because if you look at it through that perspective, it's not a thing of Ryzen or even of Japanese kickboxing or Japanese MMA. It seems like Asia as a whole, because one is based in Singapore, but they're trying to get through all of Asia, and they're pretty well known in a lot of parts of Asia. So whereas Ryzen, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say they're probably mostly known in Japan and I guess the States by the hardcores and, maybe a few parts of Europe by the hardcores. But I guess that would make sense. I mean, it's getting his name out there for better or worse, I guess, if you want to go by the old adage that there's no such thing as bad press. But all I'll say as far as the conspiracy goes, I really I was not sold on it. I didn't think it was a work for a good while. But then what kind of got me looking the other way and thinking that there might be some fuckery afoot here is that is exactly the money thing. It I know 9 million is a lot to most people. 9 million doesn't seem like fucking peanuts with compared to what purses that Mayweather usually gets. So I think there's something going on there of why he would go waste so much time and energy on New Year's Eve to fly halfway around the world for a 1 round fight. Um, I don't know. Maybe those are I feel like if I'm gonna be real, if I'm gonna get all Alex Jones up in this, that maybe he was willing to take a pay cut. Maybe that he wanted way more money, and either Japan didn't have it or didn't want to give it to him. So he said, "Well, I'll take less, but I'm not gonna be here for long. I'm gonna finish this kid in the first round, and I don't want much resistance. So if you want to pay me 9 or 10 million, you better make sure this kid goes down." I say this with no kind of certainty. I'm just talking shit here. This is just kind of fun speculation, but the money is what kind of made me think that maybe something was in the works. Because other than that, it doesn't make sense that the kid would take the fall. Because why is Japan gonna want to embarrass their one of their biggest stars like that? Unless they had something to gain, maybe not to gain, but Mayweather strong armed them in some way. So that's the only way I think, or the only reason why I think it could be a work. Other than that, I think it was mostly skill, but it definitely did look fishy in some ways and in some instances.
Yeah. So we'll never know, but man, $9 million for 150 seconds of work. He is the best businessman out there. He is a straight hustler. You can't knock that guy for his game like that. Like seriously.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely knows money.
Hmm.
Didn't call himself Money Mayweather for no reason. Yeah. Well, that was that was what was going on. The land of the rising sun. Um. Kyoji Horiguchi also beat Darian Caldwell, submitted him. So keep an eye out for Horiguchi. For the ones that didn't know, keep an eye out for Horiguchi because the guy that got armbarred by DJ in the last second of the fight is quite the fighter now. In case you didn't know. So there was that to walk away with as well. But we're gonna move on to something else now that it's 2019. We're gonna talk a lot about this following year, but I want to get to something. I'd gone on Twitter and I asked the fans if they had any questions, and not many came in, but the ones that did, it seemed like they all wanted to talk about this ESPN deal, specifically the ESPN Plus side of things. In a few weeks, we're gonna have the first fight on ESPN, Cejudo versus Dillashaw, and it is gonna be on ESPN Plus. And they announced during the Jones Gustafson fight that Greg Hardy's in the co-main, which a lot of people were not happy about, clearly. But it seems like some people are really troubled by this, specifically with the Greg Hardy thing, with him being the co-main event. It seems like they don't. It's not just a thing of that they don't want to support the UFC. They don't want to support ESPN either. I guess for not looking into this guy's history or for just allowing that uh, that placement of Hardy on the card, which I don't blame them for. But I've had ESPN Plus for a few months now because I've had some good boxing fights on there. Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, Vasyl Lomachenko. These are guys I'm a big fan of. So when it started coming out that these fights are going to take place on this format, I got it and I basically never got rid of it. I haven't used it too much, but it's $5 a month. It's not killing me. And they do have the little that I have seen. They have some great content. I'm not even the biggest sports fan in the world. If you are, I assume this is probably up your alley. But even me, I'm not a big sports fan, but I like some of the stuff. They have a big boxing library, and they have a lot of interesting documentaries too. And they have like the vault of a lot of the 30 for 30s. They have like the two Escobars, one of my favorite documentaries ever. Period. Not just of sports or politics or anything. That if you guys haven't seen that, Just as a quick recommendation, if you get ESPN Plus, I think that's one of the first things you guys should check out. I don't care if you don't care about soccer or Colombia or drug cartels. It's one of the most fascinating stories you ever hear, and it's not something that's told in many movies or mainstream sources. So it's definitely worth your time. But I've liked ESPN from the little that I've seen. I'm sure I'll like it more now that they're adding some UFC stuff. But I don't blame people not wanting to get the service, especially because of this Greg Hardy stuff. Maybe they'll just boycott this first event. But I'm a fight freak. I there's not enough fights for me ever, so I want to watch everything. I would go out of my way to watch HBO boxing, PBC. I'm a boxing fan. I try to watch Glory as much as I can. If there's any kind of Muay Thai fight that's available to see, I'll try and scope it out. I almost never miss a UFC. I try not to miss Bellator. I'll watch PFL when I remember. You know, suffice to say that again, I'm a fight fanatic. But as I'm looking at it now, it's getting pricey. It's always been pricey, shelling out $60, $65 a month for the pay-per-views if you're going all the way with it. But also Fight Pass, to include with that, another $10 a month. ESPN Plus now, if you're talking about just about the UFC, that's another $5. And then the Zone, that's another streaming service. Canelo just fought last month on the Zone app, and they have a lot of boxing, a lot of good boxing too. And they also have Bellator, as many of you know, and they also have Combate Americas, KSW, and I think they're adding more promotions. So, just with those three, just in terms of streaming services, that's like 25, $30 there of just fights, and that's not including like how many people I'm included of having Netflix. Many people have Hulu, and then of course your cable bill. If you're one of the suckers like me that still has cable, so it's pretty pricey to watch all these fights. I actually understand why some people wouldn't be that interested in getting it or considering their options when getting it. Although I like the service, it's even got me thinking little bit about it. Um, what do you think, Green? What do you think about ESPN Plus, about this online streaming thing, and I guess what do you think about the ESPN deal in general? Will it work better? Do you think they can clean up the image, I guess, a little bit, given even without the Greg Hardy stuff, or you think this is just like a road bump and they'll move ahead? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's a big deal for the UFC. Now they're on ESPN. I think that's huge. Everybody knows who ESPN is. I'm pretty sure the fighters grew up watching some sort of sport on ESPN. So that's got to be motivating, right? To be actually on ESPN this year, to be able to fight on it.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, I think that's great. From a promotional standpoint, hopefully ESPN will make some of these 30 for 30, movies or whatnot. I'm looking at the information right now. I mean, I was confused on it, to be honest. I was listening to Rogan talk about it. I was listening to Bisping talk about it, just trying to get a better understanding of what's going on with this. How much am I going to pay? What am I going to get? I didn't know any of it, but I mean, you totally sold me on it. So ESPN, you need to pay my co-host, dude. Like, for real, we need some sponsorship money.
I'll gladly take it. I don't mind being an ESPN shill.
Yeah, I mean,
Disney, please sign that check.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea that there could be so much content. So, from a marketing standpoint for each fighter, I think it's a good thing. I hate the fact that they are throwing Greg Hardy on this first card with, Rachel Ostovich. I don't like it, but they have to fill these gaps, right? They have to get their return on investment and so on. So it's a business decision on what they had to do. But if you guys are on the fence about it, it looks like they have a free trial going on right now. I'll probably try it out too, just to see what happens. But this is the future now. So, I mean, I think no matter what anybody says, they're still going to jump on board. I mean, especially if you're a hardcore fan.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it's a 7 day free trial. So it'd probably be the smartest thing if, especially if you don't want to pay for this event or you're still pissed off with the Greg Hardy thing, or maybe you just want to see what it's about to get it the day of or the day before the UFC fight, so you can just watch the event, and then if you want to watch the extra things, you could. Um,
No, I was thinking about doing that. Like, if we're going to have a free trial, all right, cool. Let me make this first card my free trial then. I don't want to pay for it. So
True.
a
Yeah.
lot, a lot of people might just jump on it for now and see what happens. Because they
Yeah.
say you can cancel at any time, and it looks like you can even pay $49.99 up front for the entire year.
Yeah. I mean, depending on your income situation, that I know some people that they do that a lot with whatever, with insurance, with gym fees. Sometimes they just rather pay up front and not forget it, and forget about it for the rest of the year. But no, what I was gonna say is, as far as the ESPN deal in general, there is one thing that I really like and I think is really smart. The prelims for pay-per-views are gonna be on big ESPN, on the main ESPN channel, and I think that's very smart because ESPN's always on bars and restaurants, Buffalo Wild Wings, places like that. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who are gonna go on a Saturday night that don't even know the pay-per-view's on, and they'll see that as like, why is the UFC on? And then they see the advertisement for UFC 234. It's like, oh shit, I want to order it now. Or if they're gonna have the fight here, we should stay and watch it. I think it can definitely help. It's obviously meant to help the UFC financially, but there's way more ESPN Plus cards than there are regular ESPN cards. So I'm just wondering if they're shelving the big guys, the big fights for big ESPN, or if they're shelving them for ESPN Plus, since that's the paid model, or if they're just going 50-50, like this month ESPN's gonna have a big fight, and then next month ESPN Plus is gonna have a big fight. I don't know how they're gonna do it because when UFC on Fox first came out, it was obvious Fox was gonna have the former champions, the title contenders, and then after like the first 2-3 years, that kind of just went by the wayside, and sometimes they just had random ass fights that didn't really care. That didn't really matter, and then it was just kind of all over the place as far as FS1, Fox, Fight Pass. My biggest question right now is what's going to happen with Fight Pass. I know somebody asked that in the questions, that is it worth it to keep Fight Pass? Is it even going to be a thing? I'm sure the exclusive Fight Pass prelims are still going to be a thing. As far as like Fight Pass events, I don't know if that's still happening now. I don't know if it's Fight Pass is just for the library and Invicta and Titan FC, and well, they just signed CES. If you guys haven't seen CES, it's a good promotion. A lot of good guys have come out of there. You should check that out. But if you're not that hardcore, I don't know what There's considering bringing in Letway, which is really 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 niche. For those that don't know, it's basically Muay Thai. It's bare knuckle Muay Thai with headbutts. So that's getting really out there. But I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with Fight Pass as far as the Fight Pass cards. I don't know what's happening with that.
Well, I thought they were going to try to eventually move the entire UFC catalog over. I thought that's what they were talking about. And then, yeah, leaving like the Combat Jiu-Jitsu, Eddie Bravo Invitational, Triumph at Combat Sports. If you guys don't know, that's a Muay Thai promotion up here in NorCal. They have a deal with them too. So I think those will still remain on that platform because they have those deals with Fight Pass. So it just depends on, do you want to see all of that too?
Yeah, I mean, Fight Pass is definitely going to be for the hardest of hardcores now, then, right? Because unless you're not, unless you're, I mean, it seems it would be mostly people that train and are obsessed with technique and all kinds of martial arts. It's kind of hard to imagine just a regular person with a Fight Pass subscription. That was kind of always the case, but now it's like, man, there's not even the. I mean, you got to remember, especially when Fight Pass first came out, they had some really good events. Like, I mean, Connor before he was a big star, that card in Ireland, that was a Fight Pass card. The first Bisping versus Rockhold fight, that was on Fight Pass. I'm trying to think of another one. I think it was this last year or the year before? Holly Holm and Betch Correia in Singapore. That was on Fight Pass. Verdun versus Volkov. I think that was this year. That was in Fight Pass. And Ngannou Blades. I mean, there's good cards. It's just that it was a lot of filler. There wasn't a lot of good prelims. I don't know. I just wish they'd have at least two big like Fox style type cards on Fight Pass, just to whenever you just any random month. It'd be cool if they did one in like February and then one in like October, like every 6-8 months. Just that what I don't know what it is gonna be, but it's gonna be worth your time and money.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe you're right. I think I did hear that all the UFC stuff's gonna be ESPN Plus, and then Fight Pass is just gonna be for the hardest of hardcores.
Yeah. I mean, I think they even signed that Karate Combat recently with them too. Have you seen that?
What
With,
what's
Bo-
that?
with Boss Rutan, he's actually doing a commentary.
Yeah, the
Karate Combat.
yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you said athletic combat. Yeah, no, yeah, they did sign that a few months ago. I haven't seen the fights. Um, Honestly, I'm trying to remember if I've seen anything in Fight Pass that hasn't been Invicta or old UFC fights. I can't think of anything. I think I maybe saw a few Titan cards here and there, but I really haven't kept up with it much.
Yeah.
I mostly use it for like tape study, which I haven't done in a while.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I used to watch Glory on it a lot.
You know what? I always forget when Glory's on, man. And what's funny is that I think they do a good stuff with marketing, but it seems like at least the last couple of cards that when I want to watch it, there's either UFC on or boxing or something. It's like, man, I want to watch it, but there's other fights on. I'll watch it later, and then by the time later comes around, I've already forgotten.
Right. Yeah, it happens. And
Yeah.
then they got the whole Stewie thing too. Like the part of it's on Fight Pass, and then part of it you have to go pay, or you gotta go find it on ESPN or something.
Well, oh no, never mind. Glory's on ESPN 3, which I believe is free. It's just also one of those things that a lot of those cards are overseas, so sometimes they're on at 2 in the afternoon, sometimes they're on at 9 at night. Kind of
Yeah.
hard to keep the schedule. It's not like the UFC where 7 o'clock Saturdays there's gonna be a fight on. Maybe that's the thing that's wrong with them.
Yeah. Oh, and then the app itself is kind of flaky. So hopefully,
Yeah, I will say that ESPN, please, if once people get a hold of it, maybe they'll realize I have the app obviously on my phone. I have a smart TV that has it. That one seems to work well. And then I have a Chromecast, so I can just cast it on my screen. But I have a Roku too, and I love the Roku. It really has it's probably one of the easiest things to use. But for some reason with ESPN, it can't get ESPN Plus. So I don't know if there's just an update that needs to happen, but I really wish it'd be uniform across the platforms, whether it's a phone, a tablet, a computer, that it's easy to access all the way around. Because I hate that sometimes I got to turn on my smart TV, sometimes I got to use the Chromecast, and I just because I want to watch ESPN Plus, it's not the most accessible. So I really hope they do something about that. I will give them that critique, and I hope they address it, especially before the fights. But um, I don't know. I don't know how much more I can answer this. I guess I'm just curious, like everyone else is. I don't know what's gonna happen. I understand people's outrage with the Greg Hardy stuff with this first card. Um, I guess we'll see after January, come the end of the month when the first card is said and done. Maybe we'll see of how well it does or how they like the service, and then we'll go from there. I guess that's all I can say about that. So that's that was the ESPN topic. now we're gonna move on to 2019. We have a few topics to cover here, but this is what we're gonna end the show on. We there's three things in 2019, three topics that I wanna cover. So the first one is, who do you want to see come into the UFC in 2019? The more and more I think about it, I can't think of. I mentioned them earlier. Kyoji Horiguchi. I'd love to see him back in the UFC, but some of it it doesn't have the same ring. Partly because he was already with the UFC, and also because Demetrius Johnson is gone. So I would love to see a rematch of him and Demetrius with how good he's looked lately, but that's not a thing. And then with this TJ Dillashaw Cejudo stuff, who knows if the division's going to remain? And then maybe he's not. Maybe he's well suited for 135 in Japan, but not so much here, where a lot of the athletes tend to be bigger. So there's that asterisk next to Horiguchi. But the more and more I think about it, the more I think that the people that kept coming in my head were all women, and of all the women that I thought about, I know she's gonna say otherwise, but I really want Sabina Mazo, current LFA 125-pound champion. I really want Sabina Mazo in the UFC. I know some people say that she's not ready. She hasn't been impressive the last year. She got some lackluster decisions, but it seems like she's one of these girls that can. I think she fights up and down to her company. Sorry, she fights up and down to the level of her competition. So I think if you throw her in the UFC, obviously don't give her a killer. Don't give her Shevchenko. Don't give her um, Jessica I. Don't give her some tough veteran or anything. But I think if you work her way up, I think especially if she gets on like the Contender Series, she can do well. And she said that she wants to study, that MMA is not her biggest priority right now. But I think she's so marketable. Her fight style is I mean, honestly, it can be kind of boring, but she's like a young Holly Holm, and her head kicks might be even worse than, and by worse I mean brutal. It might be even more powerful than Holly Holm's. She's very disarming. She's very pretty, but like in an exotic way. She has like these weird cat-like eyes, very pale. You see her and you're like, whoa, like you can even mistake her for a model. But her fighting ability is off the charts, and she's only getting better. And I know people attack her for her being boring lately, but I think that shows a lot of maturity. If she can go 5 rounds right now at as young as she is, I know she can go 5 rounds in a couple of years and she'll be even better. So I know it can be too much too soon, but we really need women, especially at the top of the sport. And I think if we bring her along slowly and with the right matchups, that she can do good. So the one person I want to see in the UFC, whether it's next month or in the end of the year, is Sabina Mazo. I think she can make some real waves, slowly but surely. How about you, Rain?
Oh, sorry, mute button. Um, well, with what happened this previous weekend, with Amanda and Chris fight, I think it kind of changed the landscape a little. It kind of has, because of the flyweight division opening up, the women's flyweight division. People are just moving, down. Some people have moved up to featherweight because of certain things that were happening. And I think it's going to open it up even more, because now there's a new champion there. And, there's a potential to be able to beat this champ, right? You don't have like the Chris Cyborg up there, the person that's been, the fighter that's been, terrorizing everybody. Nobody wanted to fight her. So I think to kind of bring balance into this, I was thinking of Kayla Harrison, because she's been really popular lately. She's Ronda's former training partner in judo. I know she's huge. She's like fighting at 155, right?
Yeah.
But I was just looking at like some of the weight that she fought for judo. Like she's gone down to 154 pounds if you translate it into pounds. So maybe she can make the weight. She was trying to call out Chris at one point, I believe. So I think she can make that weight. So hopefully the changes that happen would open up the division more. More girls will be willing to go to the featherweight division. So I would like to see her and then also Sarah Kaufman back because, what's going on with Juliana Pena or, Sarah McMahon? Well, Sarah McMahon just had a baby, so who
That
knows
might be
how
a
long.
while. Yeah.
How long, who knows how long she's going to be out, but she's still a ranked fighter. And so I just want to see some of these girls back or maybe a newcomer coming back that could fill body, fill position in the featherweight, section there. So I'm with you. I'm looking at women. I couldn't think of anybody else really outside of that.
I think you're kind of in the same boat with me too, as far as Kayla goes. The way that I'm looking at Sabina Mazo, Kayla's not as young. She's not as young as Sabina. I think Sabina's like 20 or 21. But obviously she's still pretty new to MMA. This is her first year in MMA, and she went 3-0. I know the level of competition hasn't been all there, but it's not up there in featherweight either. So I don't think you can really knock her for that. As far as her potential and her ability, she's outstanding. She's obviously, yeah, she's great at judo. She's a gold medalist. She's very physical. She's a big girl, but man, she's terrifying in there. People were scared of Ronda when she first came out because like, man, she's got nasty arm bars. But nobody was really scared of her physically. Like, yeah, some of her throws were incredible, and you saw like, damn, she really landed on that girl. She threw her weight into it. But you weren't scared that she was gonna beat the shit out of you. Kayla almost has like this. I don't want to exaggerate and say she has like this cyborg feel about her, where she's like that intimidating because she's not. But her presence, just her physicality, is so outstanding that it can't be denied. That's not a thing of like, oh, well, I'm just gonna avoid her and I can avoid the judo or no, because she still has really pretty good wrestling and her ground and pound. Her ground and pound is like it's so high level for someone at her. It's so high level for someone with her knowledge of MMA. So she really gets it. Every time I see her, I'm like, man, I know this isn't the greatest competition, but she's improving, and that's worth a lot. And also, she just gets it. She has really good IQ, really good in-fight IQ. I'm just still not 100% sure she can make the weight. Sometimes you get older and all of a sudden you can't make it. And then, with women, there's always, it seems like it gets worse and worse with age. So she's not that young. She's not that old either, but who knows? But yeah, I'd love to see Kayla Harrison. I think PFL's paying her pretty well. I don't know how likely it is. Then again, I don't know how likely Sabina Mazo is. I guess these are just big hopes and dreams on our part. But yeah, man, if Mazo and Harrison came in, I'd be happy as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, and it would be interesting to see. And I think we'll talk more about, the bantamweight division and featherweight division in our next topic.
Yeah, okay, so our next topic is going to be champions, the people we expect to be champions by 2019. I'm going to let you start here, Reen. You don't have to say if you think a guy's going to stay champion in that. You don't have to say. So I guess you can just go on, just say the division and who you expect to be the new champion by the end of 2019.
Women's strawweight, I think Joanna's going to get her belt back.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's Doug Rose been? I would love to see her come back and fight, and she would have to fight Jessica, right? Andrade, little cyborg.
Yeah, they've not mentioned that fight at all. That should have been a big story. Like everyone's talking right now about like Usman and Woodley and Covington and these guys that what the fuck, Rose is. I know she was saying that she was kind of struggling with some mental issues, and then the people made a big thing because she said the Connor thing was still kind of in her head. I think that's just an everyday thing. Rose has mental issues. She said as much, but I don't think she's avoiding anybody. I just don't understand why the UFC hasn't made a big deal about it. I think she may have had an injury, but I don't think it was that severe. I don't know. They're always want champions on a card. Like why Rose is so marketable. I mean, she's. I think Rose is a legit star. She has yet to prove it in any meaningful way, but yeah, I think she's a star. So I assume, and your logic, I'm just kind of putting words in your mouth, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming you think Rose is gonna fight Andrade sometime early in the year, and then Joanna is gonna fight Andrade and beat her again.
Yeah, I think they'll set up a rematch between them, and Joanna may end up with the belt.
I could certainly see that happening.
Yeah,
Andrade is a terrible, terrible, terrible matchup for Rose. If Rose beats Andrade, Jesus Christ, she may be one of the best we've ever seen. I know Andrade isn't a world beater. I know she's not, like the best strawweight ever. But given how bad that matchup is, if she can do like similar to what Joanna did, like just stick and move and just outpoint her or shit, even finish her, like submit her, man, what a feather in her cap. But yeah, I can definitely see that happening. And then I think Joanna has Andrade's number because Andrade isn't going to change, and neither is Joanna. That's just another bad style matchup for all the other reasons.
yep. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen because who knows when Rose will come back and fight, timeline wise and everything. Yeah, just seeing it on the calendar and whatnot. I see Joanna with the belt at the end of the year. So that's my prediction for strawweight. Maybe it's a bold prediction too, yeah? Because people have counted her out. So
Well, I mean, she lost to Rose in the rematch. She beat Tisha, and then she lost to Shevchenko. I mean, those aren't bad losses. She was very competitive with Rose. She almost won it. It was 1 round difference. She looked good against Tisha, who's no slouch. And then she lost to Shevchenko, but it's also a girl she's lost to 3 times already. Now 4 times. So I mean, it's embarrassing. It's disheartening for her, I'm sure, but nothing to really hang your head up about because that's just one of those girls you just can't beat. I mean, it happens, and we've seen it with some of the best of the best. Rich Franklin was a great fighter in his time. Once Anderson Silva came, it was done. He's never going to beat him, no matter what camp he was with, no matter what else he did. It was just one of those things like you're never going to beat that guy, and you just have to accept it. Okay, so women's strawweight. What other weight classes you expect some kind of change?
well, flyweight, we're not going to even touch that. Women's flyweight. I mean, there's really no point. Valentina's going to keep it. So moving right along. Sorry. I mean, I just don't see anybody beating her. I mean, I'm looking at the top 5 right now with the women's flyweight division, and I think she's going to be at the top. She's going to probably fight 2 or 3 times this year. She's an active fighter. She wants to be an active fighter. It's not her fault that her opponents had issues last year. So, I mean, I see, Team Bullet and company like really getting her name up and, off with ESPN, having a good relationship with them. So hopefully that turns out for her that she's active. Hopefully we get to see her fight 3 times. With the bantamweight division, okay, so this is what I was kind of referring to. I think what's going to happen is Amanda's going to move up. She's going to have to give up her title, which will probably open up a fight with GDR and Holly Holm. We'll probably see a rematch. They're probably going to run it back because that first fight, I don't want to really revisit it, but yeah.
Okay, where do you think they're just going to stick Ketlin Vieira in the back burner?
I think so because with this new era, what's more important? More familiar faces and making more money. So I think it's going to set up because right now GDR is #1 contender anyways.
Is she really?
Yeah. It looks like in the rankings right now, she's a #1 contender. And then #2 is Holly Holm. So they'll probably set that up.
And what, Ketlin's what, #3?
#3.
That's some fucking bullshit, dude.
So yeah,
Jesus.
I know. Just looking at it that way, I kind of see that. And then probably in the rematch, GDR is going to take the title. And maybe that's my bold prediction as well.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk, touch on it a little bit in a minute. But yeah, I mean, I see your point. GDR, I think, will always be a bad matchup for Holly in one way or another. At least it's always going to be close. At best for Holly, it's always going to be worse. At worst, she's just going to, really outslick her and and punish her, illegal blows or not. But okay, that's interesting. Man, it's kind of upsetting. I mean, obviously, I know we're just talking shit here, but kind of upsetting because I think Kellen Vieira is one of the most promising women in all of women's MMA. And then there's Aspen Ladd too. You know, I guess you assume that Home will probably beat Ladd and fight GDR next.
See, if Holm can get past Lad, then for sure. But I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It is. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see that one.
I've talked some shit about Ladd
Yeah.
lately, but I mean, she's clearly talented. I just don't see why she suffers as much as she does. I feel she's just one of these women that I mean, I kind of said that about Cyborg, but that's not fair because she doesn't really have an option. You know, 145 is probably as reasonable as she could get down. Uh, but so I feel bad for her. I legitimately feel bad for a girl like Cyborg. But at Lad, it's like you were at 125, you go up to 135, and then you can't make weight, and you're super young. I know there's things, oh, period issues and what have you, but like two, three times in a row, and then the one time she made weight, it should look terrible. And then I mean, maybe this is where it all originates. I know Leslie Smith wasn't on friendly terms with the UFC, and her time was coming anyway, but I kind of feel like Aspen Ladd got her fired, man. That shit pisses me off because Leslie Smith is one of my favorite fighters ever, honestly. On the women's side of things, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't know who I had more fun watching than Leslie Smith. Like, I remember when she knocked out Jessamine Duke, I was like yelling, like, fuck yeah, like if she was my sister or something, you know? Like, it was like a close connection I had with her whenever she'd fuck girls up. So maybe that's my dislike towards Aspen Ladd. But as far as her and Holly, yeah, I have no idea who's gonna win that one. I'm gonna say Holly just because I think she's smart enough to avoid Ladd's strengths, but that's just my gut feeling. I'm really not basing that on anything.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the whole weight cutting issue with her. Maybe because, the win she had recently just totally overshadowed that.
Yeah.
It was against Tanya Evinger, so but she comes in heavy, right? She's a heavy girl. I mean, some of her pictures really scare me. I'm like, what the? How is she going to make 135?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I mean she size wise, like height wise, she doesn't look like tall. She doesn't look like I don't know, I guess like Juliana Pena. You know, Juliana Pena's kind of a tall girl for the division and she's muscular and thick. Ladd's kind of short and stocky
yeah,
and
stocky. You're right.
and she can't make weight. It's like I'm used to make 125. Like what the fuck? Like, I know you were younger, but what the? And then she's like dying to make 135. Like I think this is just bad habits, bad weight cuts, bad weight management. I don't know what's going on, but like I mean, I I still don't feel bad, but like I'm kind of surprised more people didn't give me shit. Like people were so concerned for her during the Tanya Evinger fight, the weigh-in. She was like looked like she was gonna pass out, and she was all kind of had like some jello legs, and I was like, I don't feel bad. I know I'm supposed to feel bad. Like, oh, why are these poor girls doing this? I'm like, dude, she's done this weight before, and all of a sudden she can't. And it's like it's not like Cyborg where she can't go up in weight. She can go up in weight. She either just is too scared to go up in weight, or she just doesn't know how to cut weight. In which case, someone really needs to get a hold of this girl and straighten her out because she's hurting herself for no reason. Honestly,
Yeah, this is another thing I forgot. I was actually with some of her teammates that night, and
the Tanya Evinger fight.
yeah, um, yeah, I was with some of her teammates, and they were talking about her coming in, lighter because she actually came in. She lost 2 pounds more than she should have, so they were kind of concerned with that. And I don't know, maybe I should be talking about this. Probably get hate for this too, but yeah, her teammates were kind of concerned with it. But I mean, they were surprised. They were really, of course, that's her teammates. So that's their teammates, so they have to cheer her on and be supportive. But yeah, they were just like, "Wow, she did it!"
Yeah.
Against Tanya Evinger. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So GDR bantamweight champ. Anyone else? Or what? Or what else? Who else?
Shoot, I can keep on going.
Oh yeah. I mean, Just all, like I said, it doesn't have to be all the weight classes, but just the weight classes you think, where there'll be a big change.
I don't even know what's going on with what's going on with the flyweight division, the men's flyweight. So is it really going to
Yeah,
be killed off after?
I probably wouldn't touch that one right now because we have no
Okay.
idea. I mean, all you could say is that Dillashaw will become the flyweight champion, and then if he is, that may be it. I mean, nothing else can happen, possibly, Or if he wins, there's a rematch. Cejudo wins it again, then someone else. Who the hell knows? Let's just leave that one alone.
Okay. So I think TJ will keep his belt at bantamweight for sure because he just keeps getting better and better. I don't think anybody's going to knock him off. They might try to set up another fight with Cruz, but he's hurt again and you can't wait on him. They're 1-1 right now, so that might set something up for that. But I mean, I believe that TJ will keep his belt. Same with Max Holloway. I don't think he's going to move up. I think there's just too much going on with the lightweight division right now. I'm not sure what's
Well,
going to happen with Khabib or Conor.
I mentioned Volkanovski earlier. I mean, like I said, I mean, I think, and I also said earlier, I think Moicano's the next guy. If he gets past Aldo, and it looks like by the odds that he will, that's a good next matchup. I'm actually not 100% sure Holloway will win that matchup.
Really?
Moicano, I think Moicano's that good. I'm gonna go for Holloway, and once the fight goes around, I'm sure I'll pick him.
Mm-hmm.
Moicano, I'm not sleeping on at all. And then should he get past Moicano and Volkanovski either stays or wins another fight, I think Volkanovski's next. You still got to think about Frankie Edgar. I don't think Frankie is the guy to beat Holloway, but I'm sure it'll be a fun fight. So I know people were saying that he cleaned out the division, but there's contenders emerging. I mean, people got to remember 145 is stacked.
Yeah.
Um, maybe it's a lot of older contenders, but the young kids are coming up and they're coming up quick. So don't sleep on that division. So yeah, I get you. Okay, Holloway remains, Dillashaw remains. Lightweight, what do you think?
Oh man, this was tough for me. I think Ferguson will take the belt and possibly retire him. And this is after Khabib defends once again with Conor.
I'm actually not gonna say anything about this right now because this has something to do with my bold prediction. But
Okay.
I'm kind of on the same page with you. I'll explain in a bit.
Okay. Um, so moving along to welterweight.
Yeah,
Woodley, case closed.
fair enough.
Yeah, he's not active enough. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Maybe he beats the brakes off of Colby and like hurts himself at the same time, which keeps him from defending again against Kamaru.
Well, right now it looks like it's Usman, but I mean, and then I believe Usman is under Ali Abdelaziz, so he seems to get his way. So I'm starting to think that whenever Woodley fights, I think it is going to be against Usman.
You think? Okay, so not the popular fight, which would be Colby, but they're going to go. Okay, that makes sense too. I mean, it can go either way with those guys.
It's kind of funny. I mean, just as a side note, I know people kind of. I'm not saying this is hatred towards Tyron. I kind of have like a nuanced opinion of him, but I don't really care of all this drama that's going on between them. Honestly, it's kind of annoying, but it's kind of funny from the way that things look. Like I said, it looks like it's going to be Usman versus Tyron Woodley. First of all, that's not really a sellable fight. It is probably the most deserving fight because Usman, I think, is much better than Colby, and I think he'll mop the floor with him. But it's going to be a fight between two black guys. People, like to say the thing that Dana's racist, and especially that he hates Tyron. Like, why would you give Tyron the possibly the tougher fight and a boring fight? Like, I don't understand it. I don't know. That's just a weird thought in my head. I think people get way too upset either with Tyron or for Tyron that they despise Dana White and everything he says is wrong, or they hate Tyron and everything he says is wrong, and they just automatically take Dana's side. But you would think he would want to go with Colby because of the shit talking and this and that, but it doesn't seem like he's too keen on it.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'd rather see Kamaru fight him, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, with them, who knows?
I think you're right. Inactivity, weird division. Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say Tyron will defend because he may only fight once.
Okay, so middleweight, I think Whitaker's going to just hold on to his belt.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. I mean, I don't see Kelvin getting past him. And then if he does get past him, Israel Adesanya is possibly next. But I think it'll be too soon for him. I mean,
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Robert Whittaker is just a beast. He's
Yeah.
an animal. So he'll probably finish 2-0. Because I don't know, he gets hurt too. So maybe 2 fights we'll see out of him. So
Yeah.
for 2019. But yeah, light heavyweight and heavyweight, I really don't know. I try to wrap my head around it. What are your thoughts on it? Because so many things are flying around right now with those 2 divisions because of you know who and you know who.
Pico, Graham, and Popeyes.
Yes.
Oh, and Roydy McRoyderstein over there in WWE.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's too much. I don't know. I tend to, yeah, shocker. I believe John Jones. I believe that he doesn't want to go up to heavyweight to fight DC. He's so, in tune, so fucking, narcissistic and crazy that I do believe him when he says, I don't want to ruin DC's life and take everything he's ever worked for and destroy his whole legacy. I do believe him because I do think he thinks he can beat him at heavyweight. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think DC could win a heavyweight, and his odds of winning a heavyweight are way bigger since he's undefeated there, and he just seems to look better, not cutting weight. I think he wants to fight DC, and I think he wants him to come down. I don't know if DC's going to do it. I'll say John Jones remains champion. I'll say he fights Anthony Smith next, clobbers him. After that, Dominic Reyes is going to fight soon. He'll probably fight him sometime this year. I'm sure he'll beat him. After that, I don't know who's left. So I would just say John Jones stays at light heavyweight. Maybe ends the year fighting Lesnar. The question is whether the title is going to be on the line because Dana's really keen on keeping DC, even though he wants to retire. If DC's just straight up staying with I'm retiring at 40, I don't know if he has another fight. He may be done already because what are the fights for DC right now? And you've said already, and I'm really day by day start to believe you more that Lesnar's not going to come back. So, who could DC fight? And Ngannou is still like a top contender because he beat Blades. So he kind of righted his wrong with the Derek Lewis fight and the Stipe fight. I guess he could fight Stipe again. I'm really down to see that fight, but for some reason it seems like the UFC is not too keen on booking it. I'll say DC fights Stipe, beats him again, retires, and then fuck it, I'm gonna say it. He retires, vacates the belt. If that's the case, then yeah, I think John Jones will go up and fight Brock Lesnar for the vacant belt and beat the shit out of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, that might happen, huh? At the end of the year.
I think you're right. I think you're right about Lesnar not coming back. I really do. But if DC retires, because I think part of him he doesn't want to get his ass whooped like that. Mm-hmm. And Jones, I think he thinks he'll have a bigger chance because he's smaller. He's not as heavy as DC, and his wrestling's not as good. I think he thinks he could probably just muscle him. And it's worth it because DC's one of the greatest ever, and he's obviously has a lot of people's respect. But John Jones is a household name, and he might be the greatest ever too. So I think there's more juice there, no pun intended, with Jones. I didn't realize it until after I said it, but no, I seriously think like, okay, John Jones is going up. Fuck it, Vince, make the call. I'll go right now. Plus, I'm not saying they're both gonna use or one's gonna use, but if something happens, they both got bad histories with USADA and whatnot. It's like, who really gives a shit? That's like an exhibition fight minus the exhibition. Like, let's just kind of kick regulations out the door.
You get a TUE?
Something like that, yeah.
A golden ticket. All right.
Yeah, so that's what I think happens with that. So do you agree with that? With Jones basically staying light heavyweight champion and then possibly becoming heavyweight champion?
Yeah, you make total sense. Like, I try to wrap my brain around it, but it's too much for me, man. John Jones, he just fought and won, so it's just too soon for me to think about it. I was like, man, he's over here trying to start fights with Anthony Smith on this
Fox Sports.
Yeah, the Fox Sports with the interview and whatnot. He's like, "You guys are all friends with DC, so yeah, I'm just being rude or something like that." I'm like, "Come
Oh
on,
my God,
calm
yeah, that
down."
was funny. Yeah, he was being a total dick, man.
Yeah,
You see what he did to Chael when he was just like, "Don't even talk to me," basically.
yeah, like calm down, dude. Like,
I was like some like honestly, that was like some like Real Housewives of OC shit. Like bitch, don't even look my way type thing.
yeah. Ugh, so yeah, that was funny, but
Yeah, John Jones is gonna John Jones as we've said a million times. Okay, so I'm gonna touch on a couple of these. So I think I agree with you for almost everything. So we just talked about heavyweight and not heavyweight. Middleweight, I think you're right. I think Bobby Knuckles remains. Welterweight, yeah, I think Woodley remains. I'm not gonna touch. Okay, I'll touch on it, and then we have to go to the prediction, the bold prediction, because this has to do with it. But Tony Ferguson will be champion in 2019. So I think that's the same as you said, right? So I think we agree there.
yep.
So okay, so Ferguson, featherweight, it's gonna be tough. I think he's gonna have gonna be two hellacious fights with Moicano and Volkanovski if it turns out the way I think. But I think Holloway will remain champion, but he's gonna get his ass kicked in the process. 125, yeah, I'm not gonna touch it like we said. 135, I think Marlon Moraes will be champion by the end of the year. I do think that.
Wow. Okay.
I think he'll beat Sun Sao. The first fight was really close, and I even think he won. And I think his power is still slept on. I mean, people really need to rewatch when he knocked out Aljamain Sterling. That was one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my life. I don't like Sterling. In fact, I've never liked him. I borderline hate him. And when he knocked him out, I was like, oh my god, is he alive? Like, please, like that was sincerely like concerning. I was like, shit. Like, please tell us he's okay. I mean, he got pulled out on a stretcher too. I mean, I've seen Overeem get knocked out dozens of times. Another fighter I'm not a fan of, and every time I was like, "Fuck yeah!" The only time I wasn't was like with the Ngannou one because that one was also disturbing. But that's when you know a knockout's real bad when even it's someone you don't like and you're not happy about it, you're just like, "Damn," you're concerned right away. And then his speed. That was the craziest thing about his last fight. He knocks out Aljamain dead, and then the fight with Jimmy Rivera, he was like lightning. And then what, 30, 36 seconds knocks him out with a head kick. I mean, I think Dillashaw's in for a rude awakening with Moraes. I think he's gonna try and do his usual thing, and Moraes is gonna get a counter strike or just land a big blow and take TJ out.
Dude, that'll be a good fight.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of thought this about him for a while, so
Okay.
bold of a pick for me. On the women's side, featherweight, yeah, I think you're right. I think Nunes and Cyborg will most likely rematch. Nunes will win. Although I don't know, I don't think it'll be as dominant. Maybe it's a second round knockout. Maybe it's a submission. Maybe it's a decision. I don't know. But I think she wins again. Bantamweight, I don't know if Nunes vacates. I'm gonna say she goes back. I think she'll fight Nunes. She'll fight Cyborg. Most likely beat her and go back down. I think there was gonna be an interim female belt in the time being because I mean yeah it would make sense if they strip her, but I would hope the UFC would do somewhat the rational thing and just leave her be because I mean this might not happen again, at least not for a long time. So I would hope they'd give her the belt and then do an interim fight between Caitlin Vieira and I guess the winner of Holly Holm and Aspen Ladd. I guess I can't fully get on board with the Durandame thing, at least in the way that I see things going out. But you do have a good point with her too. I wouldn't fully count it out. So that's bantamweight, strawweight. I hate to agree with you, but I think you're right. I think Joanna does get her belt back because I don't think she's gonna have many people to fight, and the ones that she does, I think she can beat. But actually, you know what? No, Tatiana Suarez, I think will be champion in 2019. I can't. The more and more I try to overlook that girl, the more I can't. Like I really don't see many people beating her. And actually, I think I think Rose will be the easiest fight. I think Andrade will be a tough fight, and I think Joanna will be a tough fight, but I think Rose is the easiest fight for her, and for that, I think she can be champion.
That would be cool. I like her too, but more than likely she'll probably square up against Nina. Kind of see that happening
Shit, I
too.
forgot about Nina. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I love Nina, but I think she'll smash her.
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess Suarez 2019. So that's basically it. So I'm gonna move into bold predictions. As I said, my big thing, part of my prediction has to do with 155. So my bold prediction is that Ferguson will be champion in 2019. But I don't think it's not just that I think he'll beat Khabib. I don't exactly know how this is gonna turn out. This is why it's a bold prediction because I'm kind of hoping everything goes in place and nothing goes wrong, or some things go wrong and work out in his favor. I think he'll beat Khabib, become champion, and I think he'll fight Conor next, and I think he'll beat Conor too, and I think he'll end 2019 as if not the number one pound for pound, maybe the number two pound for pound.
Hmm. Okay. See, I have down also Connor versus Diaz 3 happening
Yeah, I think that'll happen next, and
instead of
I don't,
Khabib versus
yeah,
Connor. Okay.
yeah, I don't buy that because here's the thing: there's every once in a while there's a fight where the UFC listens. Every once in a while, it's not common. It's like every 5, 6, 10 years. But I think this is one of those you can't deprive us of Khabib Ferguson. I ran a poll. I don't know if you've seen on the podcast on the I'm sorry on the Twitter on our Twitter account, and it was overwhelmingly what do you want to see in 2019, and overwhelmingly it was Khabib and Ferguson. And I've not talked to a single person who anyone that says they want to see Connor is almost always it's a Connor hater. It's like, oh yeah, we'll let him fight again. I want to see him get knocked out or submitted again. Ha ha ha. Or every once in a while, it's a Connor Mark who's like, well, he wasn't ready the first time, but he's gonna beat him this time. Watch. But that that's not a good. Yeah, of course it'll make money, but I don't know. I think something's gonna happen. They're gonna put a lot. They're gonna make a stellar card, and I I'm just hoping. I'm just hoping and praying that everything goes well, and I think they'll fight. I think Ferguson will beat him, and I think Connor will probably fight Nate Diaz around the same time, and then at the end of the year, October, November, December, Ferguson and Connor will fight, and Ferguson will beat him, and who knows what happens with Connor after that?
Yeah.
Possible retirement.
Yeah, because I don't think he's going to have a good 2019. Maybe a proper 12 will, but
Yeah,
not him in the cage.
yeah. So your bold prediction?
Well, my bold kind of mentioned it earlier. GDR will probably be champ. He'll probably be champ at bantamweight. Women's bantamweight. Yep. Ferguson will be champ. He's going to take down Khabib, and I think he's going to retire him.
I don't think Khabib wants to fight much longer.
So I see him retiring after he gets beat.
If it goes the way I do, and like I said, I'm kind of on the same boat with you. He'd retire Khabib and Connor in the same year.
Yeah.
I really think he can do it, man. I think he's just like I was getting this feeling with Max Holloway too before he fought Jose Aldo. I know not a lot of people picked him to beat Aldo, and I was like, dude, I was a fan of his, but I'm like, seriously, like, tell me why Jose is gonna beat him. And I was like, well, he's just a veteran, and he's just his leg kicks and something. I'm like, no, no, no. What have you seen in the past 10 or 11 or whatever fights, 9, 10 fights in a row that Holloway has been doing? What have you seen in him that makes you think he'll lose to Aldo? I'm not talking about how good Aldo is. I'm talking about how good Holloway is. Where do you see the holes? What has any of these opponents done to prove to you that there's a weakness that Aldo can exploit? And it just kind of kept being like a gut feeling, like, no, it's just I think Aldo. I think his only bad matchup is Connor. I think he's over that, and I think he's gonna be champion for a while again. And I'm like, okay, all right, if you say so. I'll watch what's gonna happen. And then, sure enough, it happened. And that's kind of what I'm feeling with Ferguson. I just, I just have a feeling about him. He's won so many, in a row against the best guys in the world. Sure, he's gotten rocked. Sure, he's had his bad moments. Sure, he's had gotten injured. But where have you seen a thing where you feel like, man, like that wasn't a good fight. Even the fights where he's getting beat up for a bit, he finishes them, or he comes on in the later round. Like Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos had his moments, but once Ferguson took over, he just drowned him. And like that's the type of shit I'm like, I don't see anything that. Yeah, of course Khabib's gonna take him down. I know it's gonna be a close fight. I know Khabib's gonna take him down, probably smash him for a bit, but Ferguson's I think gonna submit him. And then when it comes to Connor, I guess it's easy to say that he'll submit him, but shit, he may knock him out too. His
Yeah.
elbows, his reach is just man. I think Connor's gonna fold quick. I would be surprised if he makes it out of the second, even the first.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah, we deserve that fight, don't we? The Khabib Ferguson fight. Man, I still remember when Tiramisu Gate happened. I was at the airport and I was getting all these messages that the fight was off.
Yeah, that well, yeah, not good times, bad
That hurt.
times, and I
That
don't
one
want it
hurt.
to ever happen again. But yeah, this is okay. All right, so we've gone like 2 hours already, but
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
it's the first podcast of the year. And you know what? It's been dead. There's nothing to talk about really, so we've just been kind of rambling. It's fun. It's been fun. But I guess yeah, we'll end it there. Bold prediction: Ferguson beats Khabib, beats Connor, retires them both, becomes top one or two pound for pound fighter in the world. Rina is GDR will have a rematch with Holly and become the bantamweight champ. So in turn, I know actually now that I think about it, I know we laugh at her featherweight title, but she will become a dual champion, not a consistent dual champion like Amanda, a champ, a double champ, but she will become a champion in two weight divisions, which no one else outside of Amanda has done. So that'd be a weird way to end the year. there's undoubtedly the GOAT, Amanda Nunes, and then there's the randomly the most hated fighter in women's MMA history, possibly, and a girl who Amanda smashed the shit out of too. So
Yeah.
don't even try to bring up a fight between them two.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens with both of those divisions now that it's opened up a little.
Okay, well, I guess that'll do it for tonight. Thank you for anyone and everyone that stuck around. This is our longest one yet. Um, I guess just the John Jones stuff, Nunes, just so much things going on. Frankly, there's very little going on, but all the ramifications, all the possible all the possible consequences, all the possible things that can happen this year. I'm really excited for it. I'm sure there's going to be some unforeseen thing that, there's still the USADA stuff. Who knows how this is going to affect people? Who knows if way more fights are going to be canceled? Who knows if maybe they stop the program because it's getting way too invasive? John Jones pops again. Fucking Brock Lesnar. Someone we never thought. Who the hell knows? There's so much crazy shit that can happen, but I'm excited for it. I think this ESPN stuff's going to be good, and I hope everyone sticks around. Oh, and I hope Greg Hardy gets his shit kicked in and gets kicked off of the UFC promptly. But that's a wish for 2019. My biggest wish is still Khabib versus Ferguson, but that's probably number two.
Nice. I like it.
All right, Rain. So again, we're gonna call this a night. Thank you to everyone listening. Thank you for everyone that stuck around. Like, share, subscribe. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, almost anywhere you can find a podcast. Our main domain is Spreaker, so you can catch us there as well. Give the Twitter account and the Instagram account a follow at iFox with Juice. You can find me at Juice_MMA, Irene at Fox with you. Trying to get other things in the work and the pipeline. Trying to get back into writing articles, so keep an eye out on online. You may find something pretty soon if I get my shit together.
Is it a personal article or are you writing it for somebody?
Most likely personal. I think I should get my name out there more. I don't think I've ever really written an article for juicemma.com. It's almost always just links. So I think I'm just gonna do it for myself for once.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fully looking forward to it.
Yeah. Now that I said it, I hope you guys hold me to it, and I'm gonna do my best to follow through on it. But thanks again. We'll catch you all next week. See ya.
See ya. Peace.